Welcome to our February Clean Pittsburgh Commission meeting. My name is Lissa. I am the program director with Allegheny Cleanways and the new co-chair of the commission. I am going to pop it over to Amiye.
Hello. We got people popping into the call as we speak. Hello, my name is Amaya Aquili. I am co-chair of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission and also a sustainable procurement specialist with the Office of Management and Budget with the City of Pittsburgh. And I live in East Liberty. I will popcorn to Helena.
Hello, everybody. Hope you can hear me. My name is Helena Procopio Ross. I'm the Environmental Enforcement Specialist for the City of Pittsburgh. I'm in charge of recycling, outreach, and education for the city. And I'm also the newly appointed outreach coordinator for the Clean Pittsburgh Commission as well. I'll pop it over to Kelsey Ripper.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Kelsey Ripper, Executive Director at Friends of the Riverfront. And I'll popcorn over to Katie Weddick.
Good morning. I'm Katie Weddick. I'm the Senior Right-of-Way Manager with City of Pittsburgh Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. And I will popcorn to Erin.
Oh, can you? No, keep that on because mine's not working. Hi, everybody. Erin Toven with the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. I am, I think, the Northside District 1 rep and live in Spring Hill, and I will popcorn over to Afton.
Hi, my name is Afton Giles. Sorry, an echo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you're good.
Okay.
I think that was a married couple issue on the Erin and Josh end.
I'm the principal planner of sustainability and resilience out of the Department of City Planning, and I'm also the CPC treasurer. I live in Homewood, and I will popcorn it to Joshua.
Thank you. I'm Joshua Schuneman. I'm the collection events manager at Pennsylvania Resources Council and a part-time stay-at-home dad today. And I will popcorn things over to Larson.
Hi, I'm Larson. I'm the Recycling Operations Coordinator with the Pennsylvania Resources Council, and I live in Bloomfield, and I will popcorn it over to Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm the Environmental Enforcement Coordinator for the City of Pittsburgh. I live in Lawrenceville, and I will popcorn it over to Sanjeev.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sanjeev. I'm Environmental Sustainability Manager with Pittsburgh Public Schools. I live in Mount Washington. I will popcorn over to Mr. Lamar.
He's actually running the meeting, the Zoom for us from the City Channel. No biggie.
Popcorn to Debbie then.
Hello, Debbie Steinberg. I am a sustainability manager with Carnegie Mellon University, and I live in Squirrel Hill. And I think that was everybody.
I think so. Just Crystal, would you like to introduce yourself today?
Thanks so much. Yes, Crystal Witt. I'm the community outreach, community engagement coordinator for River Life. Thanks for letting me observe today.
Thank you for joining us. Okay. So if I remember the order, next thing that we do is approve the meeting minutes from last month. I sent them last week, but I will share. I think I'm able to share. That is February. I think that this is
And
today.
also thank you to Debbie for secretary. Thank you, Debbie.
Going over these from last week, please let me know if anything needs to be adjusted. That's everything. If everyone is good with that, I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from January.
Can we get a second?
Oh, I can second, Kelsey.
Thank you, Kelsey. All in favor? I'll raise your hand or whatever. Thank you guys so much.
And then let me close out of that. These are then moving on to the agenda for today. Since I sent it out last week, we've had a few changes up until this morning when I saw an email that I should have seen about a week ago. So this is the new agenda. One of the big thing, Afton, Amie had mentioned that you might need to leave a little bit early, so I moved you up right after our guest speaker. Would that work for you?
Yes.
Okay. Then we approve the agenda, right? Okay. Someone want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Anyone want to
I'll second. I'll second.
Awesome. Okay. I am gonna stop sharing my screen here.
I did want to call out that we had another person join us. Paul Scott has joined us from the mayor's office. I'd like to give him a chance to introduce himself.
Oh, you're muted.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Paul Scott, Senior Acting Manager, Neighborhood Services, right here in the mayor's office.
Thank you for joining.
Good morning. Yes, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And we made a motion to approve the agenda, but we didn't actually vote on it.
Oh, all in favor? Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Motion to approve, second vote. I'll remember that. I will write that in my notes. Okay. So moving on to our next thing. This is quick. We are still waiting for approval for Erin and Anna. Erin for refreshing her membership and Anna being a new member. And no update on those yet, but we will keep you guys posted as we hear more.
Yeah, I'm awaiting. I was supposed to actually get an update yesterday from Darius, who's helping us out in the mayor's office. I'm gonna get back with him. I'm actually messaging him right now, but he said soon the last time we talked. But if you have received an email, great. If you have not, it should be coming soon. So just stay put. We're getting there.
And I have an update just from this morning that we have someone from PennDOT that is going to be joining the commission, which is great. So I'll send him the information on how to submit an interest and reach out to the mayor's office too to start that process of approving that person. So one more.
Great. We have a lot of interest, which is good. I did want to bring up, but since I did not see it on oh gosh, I'm sorry. I looked at the agenda and full well approved it and did not. But it's another related member related thing is Larson has offered to step in as co-treasurer.
It's number 8 on the bottom.
Oh, it's on the 8. Okay, sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Wow, embarrassing. Okay, cool. Great. Well, we'll wait until we get there. But yeah, thank you so much for making thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Any more questions or comments on member authorization? Cool. Okay, so our next item is a guest speaker who's not really a guest speaker. Katie is going to talk about row management and the CPC. Katie, if you want to start.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to figure out if I can share my screen. Okay. Can you guys all see a presentation?
Yes, we do.
Great. I can no longer see you, so feel free to interrupt me at any point, but just do so verbally, because I will not see anything else. But when I joined the commission, I'm excited to be part of it, but also felt a little bit like it was unclear how my role in Domi really fits in with everything that the Clean Pittsburgh Commission is doing and that you all are doing. Because, maybe this isn't true of everyone, but I feel like you're all really focused on, waste management or cleanups. And a lot of the work that my team does overlap with all of that. And so I just wanted some time to kind of be able to share what we work on and then, have this in your minds for potential ways to collaborate as we keep moving forward as a commission. But again, please feel free to interrupt. So I'm just going to go over a little bit of background about Domi in case anyone isn't that familiar with it. And then I oversee our permitting and inspections. So really talking about that and the code enforcement side as it relates to, keeping Pittsburgh clean and a good place to live. So Domi is the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. So we are, doing everything related to streets, bridges, bike lanes, traffic signals, all of that work. And then we also have a permitting side and an inspection side, which is what I oversee. So our mission here is to provide the physical mobility necessary to support the social and economic mobility of the people of Pittsburgh through the management, design, improvement, and operation of the public right-of-way. And then we've got a set of mobility principles. I'm not going to read all of these, but the last bullet, I think, is really what kind of ties in here, which is where the design, maintenance, and operation of city streets reflects the values of our community. So obviously,
Katie, if you are trying to go from slide to slide, we're still
it's not seeing it.
Yeah.
Weird. Can you see it in this view?
There you go. Yep.
Then maybe we will just stay out of presentation mode. Thank you for that, though. Okay. So then my piece in all of this is the right-of-way management piece. So before I get into that, just making sure we're all on the same page when I'm talking about right-of-way. What are we talking about? And it's really this area in between property lines. So it's the street, the sidewalk, and all of this public space. It's, one of our biggest city assets. A lot of public space is right-of-way. And so my team oversees our right-of-way permits. So, anytime you are driving around and you see all of that utility construction and the detours, that is something that's coming through our office. And we issue over 10,000 permits a year, which is actually more than PLI, even though, you think of Domi, you don't necessarily think permits. You think of permits, license, and inspections, and it's in their title. So we are just doing a lot with, not quite as much awareness or resources. And so you see the number of permits kind of continuously going up every year, which in part reflects the amount of work happening in the city, and in part reflects just, a better oversight to make sure that people aren't working without permits. And then down in this pie chart, you can see this is the inspections we did in 2024, and we did over 30,000 inspections. So a little over half of those in the dark blue are those opening permits, which is really the utility work when they're digging up our streets. But this lighter blue, the 17%, still we're talking like 5,000 to 6,000 inspections there, are in the code enforcement side, which I think relates most to this commission, and I'll talk about a little more in a minute. So when someone applies for a permit, this means they want to do something in the right-of-way. Some of you might have done a construction project, or you might have just gotten like a moving permit where you wanted to block space for a U-Haul. And so you're gonna go into One Stop and apply for the permit. That's our permitting system. Then on our side, my team's gonna be doing a completeness check, just making sure, did you submit everything we need to be able to review this? Then we're gonna do a traffic review where we're thinking about, what area is being closed? Are you closing a travel lane or a sidewalk? How will the public navigate this closure? Then we're gonna issue the permit, and then we've got our inspectors out there making sure that everything is being done safely and according to the permit and according to city standards. So that's just kind of an overview of, what we're doing on a daily basis. And so with our inspectors, we have 3 types of inspectors. So we've got our inspector 3, so only one of them, who are really reviewing those large scale developments. If you've seen a big development go in where they are adding some curb cuts, reconstructing the sidewalks, adding tree pits, all of that kind of thing, we're out there looking at, those sidewalks, those amenities in the right of way. I'm really focused on ADA accessibility, and again, making sure everything's done to plan. Then, we've got 7 right-of-way construction inspectors, and they're focused the most on the utilities. So making sure primarily that, when a utility is done digging up our street, that they are restoring the street and the sidewalk to city standards. And then what I'm going to talk more about today is our 2 code enforcement inspectors. And so they are doing a lot of those 311 responses, where they're reviewing for all street and sidewalk obstructions, snow and litter, and debris and overgrowth. So a lot of work for only 2 people. So for our code enforcement side, typically what we're doing right now is really reactive. With 2 people, we just don't have the capacity to go out and do proactive enforcement. So how this usually works is a resident's going to submit a request with 311. Perhaps it's a blocked sidewalk. The inspector is going to go out there and they're going to determine if there is a violation. Is the sidewalk blocked? Is it allowed to be? What's going on? If they find a violation, then the inspector is going to issue a request for compliance. And so that's what you see here. It looks very official, like a violation, but really all it is a letter saying, hey, you're in violation, you need to fix it. So, best case scenario is maybe the person just didn't know, they remove whatever's in the sidewalk, the inspector comes back, usually about 2 to 3 weeks later. They say, okay, it's gone, and then they close it. If it's not gone, then they issue a second request for compliance. Same process again, 2 to 3 weeks later, they come back a third time, and if it's still not resolved, then they file a criminal complaint, and the party in violation has to go to magistrate court. So that's kind of when we're looking at some of the code violations that I'm going to show. This is the process that we're going through. So a lot of the 311 we get are around blocked sidewalks. And so this could be for any reason. But here, at some point, what is the difference between illegal dumping versus blocked sidewalks? You can see this one on the left. This is clearly some construction material, it's gonna get I would assume, who knows, gonna get taken away at some point. But what is that point? Do people really have to live with this? No, it's not allowed to just be sitting there. So trying to get things like this cleaned up. Then the 2 images on the right, they're the same house, and hard to say what's going on here. Some construction, some just random things. Maybe they're emptying the house. But again, it's just kind of random trash, supplies, who knows what, sitting in the right of way, which is, not great for quality of life for the neighbors or to be able to get safely around your streets. And so these are the kind of things that we're going and issuing the violations for. Some other ones that we'll see a lot are materials in the right of way. So these 2 examples, you can see they're using, some sort of gravel or similar material for, again, we don't know. They didn't get a permit to do anything like this. it just kind of tossed it in the sidewalk and here spilling into the parking lane, and people have to navigate it. So there's concerns about like pedestrian safety. And then also, you know, like if it rains, what happens? Is this not going to just like have a bunch of runoff into our sewers? So some concerns there. So that's one idea of, you know, like this materials in the right of way. Another example is here is a picture of, you know, like a side street where a utility project is happening. So this is an area where they're staging their equipment and their supplies. You can't really see it here, but here they have a pedestrian detour. They were allowed to close this sidewalk. So, you know, it's maybe not ideal, but pedestrians have a safe way to navigate it. But it's still this concern of, you know, if it's windy or rainy, what's happening to that material? And so, you know, that's where, in an ideal world, I would have the capacity to be able to figure out, you know, what standards should we have around this? Should we have some sort of better barrier required to make sure that this isn't just kind of going into our streets, going into our sewers? Then switching gears, another thing that we regulate are dumpsters in the right of way. So this is, you know, particularly prevalent downtown or in other business districts that are really dense, and the business doesn't have space on their site where they can keep their dumpster. And so with that, they get a permit from us to keep the dumpster in the right of way, typically in an alley. And in 2023, the mayor's office had concerns about all the alleys downtown. So DOMI, along with PLI and Environmental Services, did this big downtown dumpster blitz where we walked a bunch of different alleys, looked at what was going on. So you can see some images here. And so some of these, so if you have a dumpster permit in the right of way, your dumpster has to be closed, locked, obviously not overflowing. And so a lot of these dumpsters just didn't have permits. So one thing our inspector did was really focus on identifying the owner and getting them permitted. And the key there is that then if there is an issue later, we immediately know who the owner is, who to contact, and how to get it resolved. And so this, we brought, I think, about 20 some dumpsters into compliance in just a few alleys downtown. So trying to get all of this, you know, cleaned up. Then, so that was in 2023. And then right now, this is one that we are dealing with where these properties back here have these overflowing dumpsters. And this is an example that really highlights some of the issues with our process and how we handle code enforcement. Because, you know, our inspector has gone out, these dumpsters don't have a permit, the company won't empty them because the company hasn't been paid. So the residents are just having to live in this condition. We've cited the property owner 3 times and they're going to court. And kind of the best case scenario from court is that they're issued a fine. But that doesn't clean up the site. That just means now the property owner has to pay. So really trying to think through, you know, can we partner with other people to get this cleaned up? Is there a way to do some sort of program similar to like the Clean and Lean program where we can clean this up and then bill that to the property owner? Kind of different things that we are thinking about because the violation process doesn't solve, you know, the main issue here, which is how do we clean up the overflowing trash? So that just kind of leads to, you know, we're trying to do what we can. I think there's definitely room to find partners to be able to do more of this. Again, we're pretty reactive. We only have 2 code enforcement inspectors for the whole city, so just limited capacity in what we can and can't do. And then again, by the time we get to court, the courts are kind of unpredictable. Sometimes they'll just extend the case for a while. Sometimes they'll issue a fine. Sometimes they'll just throw the case out, but we don't know. And again, if the outcome is a fine, which is typical, that still doesn't resolve the problem. So hopefully from those examples, you can see how kind of this work relates to the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. And my goal of presenting was just, I think you all are thinking a lot about these issues, how to keep the city clean. And so my hope is just kind of raising awareness on what we're working on, what our limitations are. Definitely happy to have any ideas, whether that's now, whether you think of something in like 3 months. And then also, as we work on our neighborhood of focus, I'm happy to, offer, again, limited inspectors, but happy to offer us as a resource. But again, the question I think there is how and how to do so equitably. I don't think kind of going into an underserved community and like citing a bunch of property owners is particularly great if we're not, giving them some sort of resources to then come into compliance. So maybe it's education, maybe we don't want to bring the inspectors in at all, that's fine, but just kind of noting that this is an option and we are able to do kind of targeted efforts if there is any desire. So that's all I had, and that was a lot of information. So thanks for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions.
That was great. Thank you. I was taking notes. I definitely learned a lot about Domi that I did not know before.
Great.
Yeah, oh, does anyone else want to speak? No, I previously came from environmental services, and I know some of this work was like in the way of making its way, like to consolidating some of like the debris and violations around, waste at the curb and in the right of way. But, it is something that, like the dumpsters, that's, those are big things that are hard to move, and just like imposing and just waste is just, yeah, it's a very important work, and I'm happy to hear about even more of the work, and I'll also just understand what the right of way, because I mean, in my mind, I kind of knew what the right of way is, but like that image definitely helped as well. But thank you so much for expanding on that information, and I think we would love to have you as a great resource for as we start to move forward in neighborhood of focus. But yeah, no, thank you so much, Katie, for your presentation.
And I just wanted to say that I thought that was fantastic. Thank you, Katie, for doing that, and really got me thinking about different ways that the CPC can support that work. And you'd mentioned the magistrate courts, which has come up before. And my understanding is a while ago, before I was on the commission, that the Clean Pittsburgh Commission used to go around to the different magistrate judges and educate them on cleanliness issues and like how that affects communities and quality of life. And but I don't think it's been something that's been done for a while, and I think there's been a lot of changeover with the magistrate courts. And so I think that's a place that we could really be effective as a commission, is to have those meetings and just as an educational tool to go around to the magistrates and maybe make it a biannual, every 2-year thing, not twice a year. To talk to the magistrates, or if the magistrates, I think, go through some type of training regularly, maybe we could just add on to that. So I'm going to think on that some more, but maybe there's some, that's a good place for the CPC to put some energy.
I would like to add on to that exact thing and offer up cleanways in those efforts. We will be publishing I don't think we've made it public yet, but our strategic plan for the next 3 years will be coming out in this week. And one of the things that our goals are to start talking about magistrates because we're talking with magistrates, educating, because we face similar issues with our dump sites in general. So having being able to explain to magistrates the impact of the cost of addressing them, and doing that in partnership with the Clean Pittsburgh Commission, I think would definitely be more effective than just our small organization going out on our own. So kind of making it a collaborative effort would be great. One question I did have for you too was on that same in that same vein was, so after the violation and say there is a fine, if it isn't cleaned up, is it not something that can then be re-fined, or is there like a certain amount of time where the process would just start all over again, or is it like a one and done kind of deal?
It can start all over again. It really is just the challenge there of kind of capacity, and if we get it to court again just for another fine, it just, I think on our end, just trying to figure out, is there a way that we can do this more efficiently?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yes, we can just keep citing them because it's still, a violation. It hasn't gone anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And with these, have you found, like with the dumpster companies, have they been like, have they brought a collaborative effort to addressing these issues, or do they just, like what you were saying, like they're not getting paid, so they are understandably refusing service, and that's kind of it, or are they kind of collaborating with Domi to address these issues?
Yeah, I haven't worked directly with them, so this is my understanding, which maybe is incorrect. But I think for a lot of, like the downtown ones that I've shown, they're typically, the business is paying the dumpster company. The dumpster company has generally worked with Domi. I think it's these like the other one I showed is more of a one-off, right? That's not happening all over the place, but it is happening a couple places, and like one place is too much for that overflowing dumpster mess. And so I think the dumpster company doesn't really have any incentive to work with us because, they are also trying to get their money, trying to, so I haven't talked to them directly, so I don't want to misrepresent them. But I think that there's just some challenges, and it all comes down to people trying to get paid as they should. We're trying to get things cleaned up. So if there was a way that, again, kind of we could even pay the dumpster company, get them to deal with it, and then bill the property owner, that would, I think close the loop for everybody.
Cool. Does anyone else have questions before we move on to our next agenda item? Okie doke. Okay. Thank you very much, Katie, for presenting that. That was great.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Moving on, we have our Finance Committee update.
Hi, it's a pretty short update because the beginning of the year. So there really isn't a whole lot to talk about. At the end of 2024, we encumbered $5,000 to pay Pennsylvania Resources Council. I have not heard back from Don on where that payment is. We did submit it in December. I haven't heard. We've reached out. I've reached out, almost reached out. So that one is still sort of in limbo. So we might have to redo that one again for out of our 2025 budget. So I think that they still haven't been paid yet. But other than that, at the end of the year, we had $371 remaining. That was it. So we spent the rest of our $30,000. This year, it is my understanding that we do have 30,000, but I could not find it in the operating budget or in the capital budget. So it would be good to see if we can confirm our budget for this year, um, and make sure that it is that $30,000. Otherwise, I do have the $5,000 for Pennsylvania Resources listed right now, just sort of temporarily, just until we can figure out whether or not we'll be able to use it from those the remaining funds from last year, the encumbered funds, or if we're going to have to somehow do something new this year. So it's sort of in a holding pattern right now until we hear back from the right people. And that's pretty much it, unless anybody else has anything else. We're going to restart our finance committee meetings. We had them on Tuesdays, so I'll send out a new invite to everyone. It's not a requirement for you to attend, other than myself and possibly my co-treasurer. And if you want to attend, just drop in. That's the perfect place to introduce some proposals and some expense proposals that we can bring up at the meeting. Or if there's some other issues or concerns that you guys want to talk about, that would be the opportunity to do it. But it will, for right now, be on Tuesdays unless for some reason we have to change it. And if we do have to change it, then of course we'll discuss that. And I think that that's it. Are there any questions?
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button. But yeah, I was in conversation with Don. This was a while ago, but I was like looking back through my team's message, and he said that it would be encumbered and paid.
Okay.
So, and I know sometimes checks get lost places, but he is incredibly hard to get a hold of. But I'm to double check and see. Yeah, sorry. If that was true. So, sit tight, PRC. We love you. We want to pay you for the work that you guys do. We appreciate you. But yeah, it's just sometimes things take a little bit more movement, unfortunately. But that's the update for that one.
Since we're talking about finance committee and PRC, do we want to, instead of waiting till the end right now, do our vote in for our co-treasurer nomination? Is that okay? Okay. So, Larson has been nominated and has accepted the nomination to be our co-treasurer. Beyond that, I don't know what is required to bring that up for vote. Amiya, if you want to take the lead from there.
It's similar. I mean, we do, oh, I hate to punt this one to Kelsey, but I think we do the same thing as like, one, who's going to call it, who's going to second, and all in favor. And that should be sufficient here in this situation. So I will go ahead and move to vote Larson Scheller in as our co-treasurer. Can we get a second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Larson. And
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. And Afton, yeah, you'll be getting her into the fold. And I guess we'll look forward to seeing you at the next meeting for finance. And don't hesitate to ask questions in general, because sometimes things are confusing working with the city. But anyone who works in the city is able to at least try to use some of their expertise, especially Afton, as she's been our treasurer for quite some time, to help us figure this out and make it move smoothly as possible. But yeah, thank you guys.
No problem. Oh, just one little small thing. We've been calling for the votes, which is great. And we have been raising our hands for the the positive, but you're also supposed to call for for opposition as well. To give people a chance to say if there's any opposition. Just putting that out.
Yeah, and also abstentions too. Abstentions next time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you guys.
I'm adding it to my notes. Thank you all.
We're learning. Thank you so much.
I even read the what is it, Harry's Rules of Order or
Robert.
Harry too.
But maybe Harry's. I mean, he might have some.
Yeah. I like Harry.
Yeah. And when you're making a motion, you don't have to say I make a motion. You say I move.
I move.
That's
Okay.
the other.
Okay. Thank you. I'm writing these all down as you say them. I appreciate it. Okay, awesome. So moving on to our next agenda point is our neighborhoods of focus. We voted on these back, I want to say it was November or September or October, I think. And they are mostly in the west side of Pittsburgh and across the river in Marshall-Shadeland. Um, what Amier and I were talking about is kind of putting together. I think and we probably talked about this in the meeting that we had to pick the neighborhoods, is putting a subcommittee together to try and coordinate our efforts a little bit more and bring back some of what the Clean Pittsburgh Commission had done pre-pandemic as far as collaborative efforts, events, and all that kind of stuff, kind of getting the commission's name out there a little bit more. I will follow up with everybody to send a doodle poll for setting up a meeting time, and then whoever is interested in being a part of this subcommittee, please definitely let us know what times would work for you, and we can set up the meeting time and move on from there. See what everybody has in mind. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Can we send non-commissioners to the subcommittee meeting?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I think having external, like people who know, who are more familiar with the neighborhood and are more closer stakeholders, that would be good to have them to have their input as well.
Great, thanks.
I think you should be able to then, if once I send out the doodle poll, just forward it on. I think from there makes sense. And then anyone can add their name and information in there.
I have a question. Since I've talked at the Elliott community meeting, I think it would be a good idea to let their president know that we're establishing this subcommittee to see if anybody in the West End would love, because I think that'd be really valuable for their insight since, that's their day to day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think some of the suggestions had been inviting residents from the neighborhoods, inviting the council people or someone from their offices, from any local organizations. They should definitely have voice in this.
All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. As soon as you send that email on when that's committee's meeting and whatnot, I'll make sure to let them know that, hey, we would love you to be on this committee.
Yeah, and there's two things I want to bring up. We do also have, Paul, he's on our neighborhood services team, and we're sure to have some connections as well. And also, I just want to make sure that we don't have too many cooks in the kitchen, especially as we start getting started. Perhaps, once we get the subcommittee established, maybe the next is okay, we have a list of people who are interested. I just don't want it to be overrun with too much. I mean, everyone's opinion is valid, especially those who live in these neighborhoods and have opinions about what should be happening in their neighborhood. But I just want to caution against, the having too much going on and then it becoming just a little chaotic. That's all. But all for it. Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
I think I might have misunderstood you, Helena. I was thinking them coming to maybe speak to the subcommittee or speak to the commission.
Oh, okay,
But maybe keep members of the commission to be those included in those of us in our team, just to direct the flow and make
that makes more sense. Just so it's not everyone in Elliott on the committee.
Yeah, but they're welcome to come and speak to the subcommittee or at one of the Thursday meetings.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. Any other thoughts or questions, comments about the neighborhoods of focus before we go on to our next item? Cool. Then our next update is with the outreach committee.
Can you hear me okay? All right, cool. Hello, everyone. I'm the outreach coordinator for the CPC, and great news, things are changing. And the announcement I want to make is that after this meeting, I'll be sending out a Google Forms to everybody about updating their professional headshot and a bio about what's their favorite piece of litter to pick up? What's their education? Like, what do they do for work? Because I noticed as step one of updating outreach that the city landing page for the CPC is like really out of date. So the step one, the easiest thing to tackle first is to make sure all of our member info is up to date. So please fill that out as soon as possible. I will say this, if you'll need a Gmail to fill it out. So if you don't have one, feel free to just send me that via email, like with whatever email you got, because like, I don't want to exclude anybody if they don't have a Gmail. I did want to mention if our members haven't been like official yet, like Anna and Aaron, should they update their info too? But like I know they're like gonna get, official at some point. That's why I wanted to ask.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Perhaps getting a little ahead of the game. But yeah, as they're on their way to being approved.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and then once we get all that updated, then Amie and I will be slowly updating the website so it's so we can all fill it so we can fill in the blanks from 2021. Because we don't want to be putting out a bunch of social media and whatnot, and then our website is just looks like we don't exist. So that's the game plan. And moving forward, and so once we have all that updated, the plan is that we're going to utilize DPW Instagram for posts for us and any blurbs from other commissions that are do any not commissions, any other partners that are in CPC. We can also use the What's Good Pittsburgh newsletter for like blurbs and shout outs. So that's the plan because I know if our members who've been here for a long time, we used to have a MailChimp for our newsletter, and turns out we're at the maximum subscribers for the free account. And we all agreed we don't want to use our CPC funds for a newsletter that people might not read. So this game plan would be the freest way for us to really get the outreach out without having to use our own funds for just a newsletter, because we want to use that to actually have action in the city. So that's kind of the overall what I'm doing in the background. So, like I said, keep your peepers peeled for that email to update your member profile so that way I can get that on the website as soon as possible. And I also wanted to mention, ask everybody here today if your organizations are doing any sort of Earth Day events that the CPC or just the recycling division of the city of Pittsburgh could table at. Just so, because like, Earth Day is just right around the corner. And just to hear what other people are doing would be great to learn about. We're planning to partner with the PRC to do a updated webinar for City of Pittsburgh residents, because that's we haven't done one in a while, and we have a lot of new updates with recycling, what's accepted, and some tips about recycling, and even mentioning the new 311 system and illegal dumping and whatnot. So we thought that'd be a good Earth Day event on our end. So we just want to see what's going on like event wise for all of our organizations here, and just we can keep each other in the loop. So if there is an opportunity for a tabling event, we could learn about it now and not like, oh my gosh, that's next week. So I open the floor to anyone who wants to speak on what their organization's doing, and that's all I got for the outreach stuff for now.
If I can add to that, this thing is
Yeah,
also
go ahead.
mentioned that we do have the bags as giveaways as part of the plastic bag ban, so we can add that to help make your table more engaging from the Clean Pittsburgh Commission, if that helps.
Okay, yeah, because like we don't have any tabling event planned. That's why we were wondering if anyone is doing a sort of like big event, like a big event of some sort. I know I got invited by I think it was the Carnegie Library. They invited me to like like an early May, like tree event, and I know we're tabling at that. So I mean, I could have the reusable bags with me for that event. But you know, like just wanted to see what was going on with everybody else. Let me see what date that is that I got it for that tabling event.
In the meantime, it's a perfect segue to discussing our membership organizations if they do have anything coming up. This is a good time, but also to say that, yeah, like our joining on with the mayor's existing newsletter helps us get a bigger reach. There's already an established, I don't know how much bigger, but a much larger audience that that newsletter reaches. And utilizing existing DPW social media channels helps us spread the message far and wide. So there's an opportunity there for us to broaden our reach a little bit more and let people have more people know about the commission in general and the work that we do. But yeah, so what date was it?
Yeah, so the Carnegie Library of Hazelwood, they're hosting Tree PGH's tree adoption event on May 1st. And so they invited me and Anna to have a little table for recycling and, and illegal dumping enforcement questions. And so we can have CPC's presence there as well. So that's kind of around Earth Day, just it's close
In the
enough.
area. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so if anybody if any other organization wants to have a table there, I'm sure I can reach out to my contact with the Carnegie Library and have them send you over something too if you want if you want to have a table there for your own organization.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alina, for the update and for your efforts in reviving the presence of Clean Pittsburgh Commission on the in many ways. But yeah, thank you. And I guess go ahead, I'll hand it back to Alyssa.
I just had a quick question for Helene, if that's okay. Do you think when we kind of sunset the MailChimp with the newsletter or whatever the newsletter was called, would you be able to send an email out to the people that were subscribed on that just to let them know that that we'll be using these other kind of outlets instead, just so that and try to capture them?
Yeah, I'll see if I can because I'm unfamiliar with MailChimp. So I think if we can't, then I guess we could just whenever we're at that stage of letting know the CPC is moving to this other platform, hopefully with the What's Good Pittsburgh has enough following that people see that. And we'll use our existing Facebook we have, but I think using a combination of the Facebook and Instagram, we could get and the What's Good Pittsburgh newsletter, we could get a much larger, diverse audience using those three, especially Instagram to kind of get a younger demographic in the loop of things too. But that's good to bring up. I'll put that on my to-do list to make sure I can notify people once we're ready to move over. I don't want people to be like, hey, did these people fall off the bus?
Yeah. No, I think it makes sense to move over to those other platforms and have a wider audience. Just so we don't leave anyone behind. Thank you.
That is a good idea. I recently actually got a question about that, asking about our newsletter, saying that the Clean Pittsburgh Commission used to have one and they haven't noticed one in a little while. So that's a good idea. I also should probably know this, but I don't. But what is the DPW Instagram handle? I'm trying to find them.
So they don't have one yet, or if I swear that they did make, but things have changed. But they do have a Facebook, and they're interested in creating an Instagram so that yeah, like Instagram is like one of the more preferred methods because it's just like so much more engaging. And then understandably, they just, I guess, only have Facebook, but they're conjoined at the hip. So that is our hope, is that we can push them to establish one in hopes of sharing more things about DPW and also something that we can jump on as well. So yeah, I thought it existed, but from talking with the mayor's comms, it doesn't. So
Yeah, well, we're still in talks to figure out if we're using the city of Pittsburgh Instagram or if we're creating a whole new DPW Instagram. But that's like step 3 of this whole outreach campaign because we want to make sure the website is totally updated and before we start launching any new initiatives with any new social media platforms. But we'll definitely keep everybody at the CPC in the loop of whatever we're planning. Just so if any, because I don't want to be like the end all be all of everything outreach. I want to make sure everyone's in agreement of with whatever I'm posting and whatnot, just so every organization and member here feel like included with whatever we're advertising to the residents here.
Awesome. Does anybody have any other questions related to outreach? Cool. Okay, then yeah, following Helena's suggestion, let's go on to member organization updates. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? I can go. For Clean Ways, we are currently hiring a new staff person, a part-time water crew member. They would be working with our water program coordinator out on our boats, about 3 days a week, 20 hours a week, to do our water-based cleanup efforts and events. So please definitely share that. It is on our website. I think it was also shared a handful of other places, nonprofit talent, the Green Space Alliance, all that kind of stuff. So if you know anyone that likes boats and likes to be on the rivers, please send them our way. For our Earth Day event, I will need Helena to get back to you with confirmation. So far, the plan is for us to have our org event on the 19th in Hazelwood Green area, I think. But I'm sure having a table, it would just be our organization. So it would, I don't know if that would be like the most effective place for the CPC to table, but let me get back to you with more details to confirm.
Okay.
Any other orgs or groups have updates?
We're pretty much just in like full planning mode for the coming year. We did start back up with work days, public work days on Tuesdays, and then we have our trail stewards orientation scheduled for Thursday, March 20th for new stewards, and we definitely will be having many Earth Day events, but don't quite have all the details yet. But I will follow up on that. So lots of exciting things coming in the year. Thanks. Oh, and we are hiring part-time crew leaders as well. We just put the posting out. And so if you have staff that need more part-time work or people in your networks that are looking for some part-time work, we also have some options. Thanks.
Last call for anyone else. Have anything to share? Last minute thoughts? Okay. Well, then I move to adjourn. Is that, yeah? Okay.
I second.
Awesome. Okay. Then we are done.